YouTube, Electric Adventures here with my monthly update for May 2014. Don't have a tremendous lot to cover in this month's update, well, not as far as pickups are concerned, but I'm going to do a response to a video by Lawn Boys Post 1975. But first up, other pickups. So these are pickups of a modern nature that I don't do play demos of, and other pickups that I haven't necessarily done a pickup video for, because I didn't need to do play footage because I've already done them. So this is basically a continuing to try and upgrade some of my ColecoVision titles from loose to boxed when I get the opportunity for the appropriate price. This one came up, and it's Cabbage Patch Kids Adventures in the Park. The box is in pretty good condition. There's just a little bit of an indent here, so I'm not sure which region this box is from, but it's pretty good. It wasn't actually that long ago that I did the gameplay of this game. Now the only thing is this box is actually completely sealed as well. I can play the game on my multi-cart, so I've got no real reason to take the cart out. My loose cart I've already on-forwarded to another YouTuber, that was Lactobacillus Prime, as a surprise, and he didn't have it, so that was good. It's actually quite a good fun game. If I get inventive with the editing, I might see if I can add up a little bit of gameplay of the game there, because obviously I did a gameplay recently. And I also came across a boxed copy of one of my favourite games on the ColecoVision, and that's River Raid. And this box is in awesome condition. Maybe a little box flap thing down there. And as far as contents, this one's not sealed. Oops. Now the cartridge is in pretty good condition. Label lift there, so I've got nothing wrong with that. And we have the instructions, which come as a little plan of operation. I think it folds out rather than, yes, that's right, so it folds out. Put that away later, and it also has an Activision catalogue as well, which actually I'm not sure I've got in some of the others. So you can see the lovely range of games brought out by Activision, and a couple more on the back, the list for the 5200. Yeah, always good getting these catalogues to see what other titles were out there at the same time this was released. And River Raid is such an excellent game. I mean, I probably will do a gameplay of this shortly, because I haven't had a go at a high score on River Raid on the Coleco. I think I did one on the MSX recently, unless I'm confusing myself and did one when I got the loose cart of this, because I haven't actually long had this as a loose game. So my River Raid loose cart is of course spare now, but it's just nice to get the Coleco cartridges, especially in the box. Now, I don't have a full collection even with the loose titles, but it's one of my favourite systems, very similar to the MSX machine, so I like to continue to collect and upgrade the collection as I go. So some excellent ones there. Now to modern. Now this game's technically not mine. I have played it a little bit with the daughter in question. This was bought for her birthday, so this is for the youngest. Her birthday was in May. Sorry, get a bit of shine. So we've got the Lego Movie video game for the PS3, and of course the very level I joined her in the game was the one with the Uni Kitty and the magic colourful rainbow land. Definitely a very hectic level, and looks like a lot of fun. I mean, I showed last month I got the Hobbit Lego for my birthday, and I've actually played that all the way through and finished the story and I've been going back and just getting some of the other bricks and things like that. But I still think after completing the story, I was only at like 27%. I think I've increased that up to maybe 35% if I'm lucky. It actually takes a long time to finish Lego games properly, and then they can sometimes wane, and you don't necessarily want to get back to them. Other than that, I've been playing some Vita stuff and a Wii U game that Mark VG Lactobacillus Prime sent me, which was Resident Evil, which arrived 2 days after this Wii U game, which I used a voucher I got from my birthday from my sister for, and a day when the store was having a 20% off sale. So it's a new copy of Super Mario 3D World. So this was going to be the game I was going to be playing on the Wii U next, but I've been playing the Resident Evil, and I've actually got sucked into that quite well. So I haven't actually plugged this into the system yet to give it a go, but I'm looking forward to it because I quite like. I mean, I've liked the series ever since Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy, isn't it? I didn't actually play Super Mario Sunshine until I got the GameCube copy recently, or it was probably just about 4 or 5 months ago, off my brother-in-law. So that's what I missed, and I do actually enjoy these games. So I'm looking forward to playing that one, but it'll be after I finish Resident Evil. Okay, so I'll probably do the response to Lawn Boys Post 1975, but I'll just do a quick insert to my homebrew stuff. I really have made zero progress this month. I have fixed a couple of bugs in Pixidis, but I still haven't had a chance to redo the sound and put a little music into it, because I've just been too busy at work, too many kids' birthdays, because my other next eldest daughter, I was hoping would want some video games for her birthday, but ended up getting all closed. It was on just this weekend gone past, so she got all closed, so I didn't get to go and grab a copy of Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, but I'll work out how to get a copy of that at some stage. Yes, family considered. It's hard buying new games, because I mean, like, for the price you pay for one new game, I could get a whole heap of retro games, so makes it very difficult sometimes. But I'll get there eventually. It just might take me a bit longer. I'm just conscious of I think it's either the 31st of June or maybe in the 31st of July. If you get a copy before then, you get a free downloaded game, and it does look like a very good version. So we'll see what happens with that one. But anyway, sorry, I digressed. The homebrew efforts. So I have Pixidis. I mean, the game works and is playable, and it's pretty much glitch free. I just need to add some more sound to it and music, and it's just got a single high score. I was thinking of replacing that with a high score table, and send another version to my beta testers so they can have a bit more of a play and make sure we've got all the bugs out of it. My other title converter, Cabin Fighter, I did actually touch the code this month just to see where I was at with that one. And the other title that I'm working on for somebody else, which I'm not going to tell you anything about at this stage, I didn't get a chance to touch that at all, but I am still beavering away at my homebrew, and I will have some out at some stage. So, next, to answer Lawn Boy Post 1975's question, which was my first memories of going to a proper video game store. Now, I live in Tasmania, which is an island below at the bottom of Australia, so close to Antarctica, I suppose, as well. And we only have a small community down here, so the whole island generally only has, trying to get this number right, I think it's 476,000 people on it, which, sounds big, but there are north and south areas, and it's divided about half and half between those two, and there's a couple of regional centres and everything like that, so there's not that many people, so shopping centres and shops tend to not be very big. We don't necessarily get all of the national chains, although we have some. I mean, nowadays we have EB Games, we had Game when they were around, and we have a place called JB Hi-Fi that's not too bad. But back in the day, when it was specialty stores, you had and your larger department stores like Myers, and a place called Fitzgerald's, which later turned into a place called Harris Scarf, And you had, how to best describe, lots of little, like, I mean, there used to be lots of stores that I went into that had different microcomputers. They'd be all over the place, and they'd be like, I mean, one microcomputer I saw at one stage was in a place where you go to learn how to drive. For some reason, they decided they'd have a computer there. And I'm actually still struggling to work out which system that one was. The Sega SE3000 computers were at a sewing machine shop. The TI-99 4A, or 4, that I saw originally and played Parsec on, that got me into the TIs, and then I bought one of those second-hand off somebody else who was upgrading to a 4A, was in a stationery shop called Walsh's, which is an old building in town. Then you had Dick Smith's, and they had their System 80s. We only had one Dick Smith store, which was in town. I lived on the other side of the river. And our local shopping centre had a Tandy's. So I'm not counting that as my first game store. That was really a place where I went and played on the computers. But upstairs, in the same shopping centre as that, it's called Eastlands, it still is to this day, a new store opened, and it was called Let's Play Games. Now, when it first opened, the first thing I noticed as you walked in the door on the right hand side was a bookcase that went floor to ceiling, was probably about a metre and a half or so wide, and it was full of war games. So all sorts of, not just war or space combat games, just lots and lots of board games. And I used to love making those myself and my friends. So that's what drew me into that store. But then underneath their counter they had Game & Watches, and then a little bit further into the store I discovered they had Atari and a television, something that I'd only really seen behind glass in like Myers and Fitzgerald's. I don't think we didn't have Kmart back then. Kmart was a later chain store that came in. There is a Kmart at that shopping centre now, but there wasn't back then. You only had Fitzgerald's and Myers in town, and that was about it. And yeah, they had Intellivision and Atari, so it's the first time I saw saw those in their boxes, because the kids next door had the Intellivision, and I played with the Intellivision when I babysat them, and they just had the loose cartridges sitting in a drawer. And my friend, who had the Atari 2600, which was a 5 kilometre bike ride away, I never saw the boxes he had. I mean, when he gave me his 2600 games, when he moved interstate, there was one box, which I think my head's in the way. Where is it gone? Oh, it's up on the top shelf there, and that's that Indy 500 box. And I believe Space Invaders had this box, but all the rest of them were just loose cartridges when he gave them to me. Yeah, so you could go in the store and they'd let you play on whatever game was in the machine. If you asked politely and weren't too much of a trouble, they'd change it to something else. So I got to play a bit of Atari and television, and I used to like hanging out in there and having a look at those war games, but mainly I'd be downstairs playing on the TRS-80, Model 1 and Model 2, and even Model 3 I think they had back then down at that store. And that store slowly started to evolve as things changed. And one day the store owner, who knew I knew about computers, because it was actually only myself and another guy who was younger than me who used to hang around in the Tandy stores and were allowed to use the computers because we sort of knew what we were doing as far as the sales stuff were concerned. And the owners of the stores talked between each other. So the owner of Let's Play Games, who also owned the camera store next door, decided that computers, one of my silly dogs behind me at the moment, anyway, amusement for people who like dogs, he wanted to get into computers, and he showed me this brochure of a computer, and it was the Spectrum 318, and asked me what I thought about it. Sorry, I'm going to pause and move them on, or they're going to get louder. So there we go, jump cut just for grub gun. And notice dogs are gone. Oh, put it the wrong way. Yeah, so he wanted to get into computers. So the very first computer he got was the Spectrum Videos, and what he did was they were both two skinny stores next to each other, and he had a back room in the camera store that he wasn't using. So he knocked through the wall, and we had a couple of benches there, and that's where he started getting some computers. So he got, because he had the contacts at Atari, he got the Atari 8-bit machines. So I can remember an Atari 800 being there. I can't remember whether there was an Atari 400 or not, and the Spectre Video. So they were the first two machines there. And I helped out at that Christmas, as did my friend, whose Atari stuff started off my Atari collection in later times. And I think we got paid $1 or $2 an hour for helping to pack shelves or man the counter for a little while. And yeah, that was my first video game store. I mean, and that led on to that Christmas as helping out more, and then next year we spent more time in the store and helped out a bit. And the following Christmas, which I believe was the time when the ColecoVisions were all the rage and everybody wanted one, I was working there pretty much full time at Christmas, from like 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And that eventually led to a full-time job, which I stayed at for a while before my father gave me a bit of a nudge, and I went into an actual IT type of position instead of a retail assistant. So I always remember my time fondly at that video game store. So the very first video game store I encountered, I ended up working in at a later stage. So it just makes it an interesting addition to the story. So great tag by Lawn Boys Post. Hope I haven't waffled on too long, and this is completely off the cuff ramble, so hope you've enjoyed it. Okay, thanks to all my subscribers, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.